Can a quarterback be considered mid even if he won a national championship? Example? And you had a fair, well, okay, so it actually evened out. Out of 64 votes, 38% said yes, 38%. They won a natty even if they were mid. Who cares? That's why everybody thought you were talking about JJ being mid.
I didn't even think, like, I understand that I wrote it that way. It wasn't, I knew that I was writing it that way. Because that's my opinion, is like they won a national championship. Who cares if the quarterback is mid? Like, he won a natty. But
Right.
JJ is not mid. So that wasn't my point. JJ's not mid. Okay. I fully expect him to go top 5 overall in the draft. But still, even if he were mid, like if Cade McNamara won a national championship at Michigan, freak it, like if he, I was going to say freaking and I stopped at freak. Freak. Not Cade McNamara. Cade McNamara is not a freak. But if he freaking won a national championship at Iowa, is he still mid? You know? And I don't think he's a mid quarterback either. I think, like, I understand he doesn't have the legs JJ does, but he's got an arm and he's got the pocket presence. He's a smart guy.
I like this one from Easy Money. Another word for mid is game changer for a QB. Just make the right decisions, take advantage of the talent around you. A good QB doesn't always have to have a great arm. That I think he's absolutely right on that one, and I think that's what I think JJ did that, and the Michael Penix does that.
Yeah,
they're calm in the pocket and they get the job done. They don't have to be flashy.
Yeah, but both of them were. I mean, JJ
actually the national championship they got kind of flashy, but I mean you kind of expect that. But
well, and actually I don't even think that the national championship was JJ's flashiest. He only had 2 quarterback runs. Honestly, this season was like kind of tame compared to some of the things that we know he can do. As weird as this sounds, I have gone back through, I have looked at JJ's tape, and he has had some epic games. But I think if you look at how epic he is playing, and this is an actual metric that you can measure a football player's talent level by, is level of epicness. And you compare that, that's a joke. And you compare that to the level of competition he was going up against. So JJ has had a lot of really epic games, but a lot of those were against weaker competition. He has had a lot of really good games that were against really good competition. The one game where I think he was both playing epically and the level of competition was really good is actually last year's TCU game. And I understand I'm about to be that guy. Take away the 2 pick sixes. But really, though, I mean, take away the fact that he made a couple of sophomore plays in a national on the national stage in his first time in a playoff game, first time starting a playoff game, first year starting quarterback kind of a thing. Take away those 2 pick sixes. If you watch the tape, he actually looks amazing. Like, he has some great plays. He scores touchdowns, like multiple touchdowns with his legs and his arm. I think with his legs. In any case, he was absolutely a dual threat all throughout that game. Unfortunately, some of that threat was against Michigan, but whatever. They got the natty now, and we're fine. We can live that down. Some of my Texas coworkers were a little bit happy about that last season. They're not too happy now.
Here's though, I think going to what you're talking about, why would you rather, as a season stat for a QB, 25 touchdowns, 7 picks, or 31 touchdowns, 20 picks? Easy question.
25 touchdowns, 7 picks. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, yeah. Not even close. Jeez.
Yeah, because those turnovers turn over the game. That's
yes. Yes.
yes. Antoine says the reason JJ stock is going up is because he's coming from a pro style system. What people don't realize in other systems, most of the time QBs go off of pre-snap reads, unlike a pro style system.
Something that came out about the Rose Bowl was that Michigan, like on every single play but one, had motion before the snap and then audibled a majority of the time based on JJ's read of the defense. But then his ability to understand how the defense is playing post-snap, take a second to identify where the linebackers are coming, which gaps they're coming from, and be able to roll out of the pocket in whatever direction he needs to. Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely got that ability. Thing is he never really needed to use it at Michigan because it wasn't often that the other team was able to get penetration against Michigan's O-line. So a lot of people, I actually kind of understand why a lot of people call JJ mid. And I think it's because JJ was never asked to do everything that he is capable of at Michigan. The Penn State game is the biggest example of this. Penn State was sending Chop Robinson, their linebacker, every single play to blitz, every single time Michigan dropped back to pass. So what does Sharon Moore decide to do? He decides to run, 32 straight runs against the nation's #1 running defense at the time?
Right.
And they couldn't stop it.
Yep.
So JJ didn't need to do everything that he's capable of. Why? Because the rest of the team was just that good.
Yeah, that's when they knocked him, saying he couldn't pass. And we kept saying, you don't have to pass if you can win on the ground.
Yeah. I don't understand why anyone's surprised that a quarterback went to Michigan and didn't throw as much as he possibly could have.
Yep.
Like under Harbaugh, of course he didn't.
Right.
And probably the same thing will be said for Sharon Moore, too. I don't think that he's going to deviate way too much from that.
Buckeyes battle cry. Shoot, many average quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. I saw that comment and I went, oh, like Tom Brady. Because really, okay, so I was looking over the stats, but Tom Brady and Jim Harbaugh, although I don't think Jim Harbaugh won a Super Bowl as a player.
Yeah, well, he hasn't as a coach, at least.
Right. I don't think he did as a player either. But Tom Brady obviously is the greatest of all time in the NFL. But where would you put him as a college player? I mean, he's probably top 10 at Michigan, maybe even top 5. But where would he land as a college player nationally?
At the time, he was, or like overall?
Yeah, at the time he was playing, because he was in the what round draft? 6th round draft pick?
Yeah, 6 or 7.
So, I mean, that actually puts him below mid.
Well, I mean, I don't know that his draft position is really what you can go off to determine whether or not Tom Brady was mid or not during his time at Michigan. But I think the fact that he was, that's what we're talking about here, though. Because if you were talking about JJ, he was a mid quarterback at college. Now we're talking about, well, I'm not saying he was a mid quarterback, but if the question is, if he was a mid quarterback at college, does that mean he won't be a good NFL player? Because that's the transition. So does Tom Brady fall in that same category? Was he essentially a mid or maybe above average college player, and then turned out to be the greatest of all time NFL player, pro player? Well, I think that's what played out. Yeah, I think that Tom Brady is the best quarterback to have ever played the game, at least professionally.
Yeah.
Now, the metric for that might be changing now that we've got some really run-heavy quarterbacks coming into the league. Mahomes is really good, but Mahomes is just amazing. I mean, he's an artist. I mean, the guy is crazy good, even if the refs are protecting him unnecessarily by throwing random flags for sniffing him. Anyway, I don't recommend sniffing Patrick Mahomes. Anyway, Lamar,
or anybody else for them,
or anybody else. Don't do that. You'll get in trouble for that. Anyway, yeah, it seemed like the NFL was kind of moving towards that, but now you've got like players like Jared Goff for the Lions, who's actually playing really well as a pocket passer. You've got people like oh my gosh, Baker Mayfield. Wow, names are just gone today. Baker Mayfield for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think he's that much of a dual threat necessarily. I know he can run, but I don't know. That would be interesting. But in terms of like, would Tom Brady be considered like a top 5 quarterback back in 1997? Nationally speaking, I don't think so.
Here's a good one. Old Timer 56. Hey, Old Timer. A great QB is someone who leads his team and understands what needs to be done to win. When you add talent to those abilities, you have an elite QB. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I agree with that too. All right, I have a correction.
What?
Chad Henne holds the record for passing yards at Michigan with 9,715 during his career from 2004 to 2007.
Goodness gracious.
That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards for college football, yeah.
Yep. Sam Hartman's looking downfield for AJ.
Oh! Burner almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.